Look for the answers to these questions in this reading. Question number 1. Name the 2 main characters. Number 2. Give the physical description of each girl. Number 3. Why were Anna Marie, Ellen, and Kirsty stopped by the soldiers? Question number 4. How did Anna Marie show her dislike of the German soldiers occupying her country? Chapter 1a. I'll race to the corner, Ellen. Anna Marie adjusted the thick leather pack on her back so that her schoolbooks balanced evenly. Ready? She looked at her best friend. Now this is an indication that Anna Marie is the main character because she is looking at her best friend and she is not the best friend. Okay? Ellen made a face. No, she was laughing. You know, I can't beat you. My legs aren't as long. Can't we just walk like civilized people? She was a stocky 10-year-old, unlike lanky Anna Marie. Characterization, physical attributes for Anna Marie as well as Ellen. We have to practice for the athletic meet on Friday. I know I'm going to win the girls' race this week. I was second last week, but I've been practicing every day. Come on, Ellen. Anna Marie pleaded, eyeing the distance to the next corner of Copenhagen Street. Please. Where's Copenhagen Street? Copenhagen Street is in Denmark, okay? So the book takes place in Copenhagen in Denmark. Ellen hesitated, then nodded, and shifted her own rucksack of books against her shoulders. Oh, all right, ready, she said. Go, shouted Anna Marie, and the 2 girls were off, racing along the residential sidewalk. Anna Marie's silvery blonde hair flew behind her. So what does Anna Marie's hair look like? It's silvery blonde. And Ellen's dark pigtails bounced against her shoulders. So Ellen has dark pigtails. Wait for me, wailed little Kirsty, left behind, but the 2 older girls weren't listening. Wait for me, wailed little Kirsty, left behind, but the 2 older girls weren't listening. Anna Marie outdistanced her friend quickly, even though one of her shoes came untied as she sped along the streets called Oosterbrugge, past the small shops and cafes of a neighborhood here in the northeast Copenhagen in Denmark. Laughing, she skirted an elderly lady in black who was carrying a shopping bag made out of string. A young woman pushing a baby in a carriage moved aside to make way. The corner was just ahead. Anna Marie looked up, panting. Just as she reached the corner, her laughter stopped and her heart seemed to skip a beat. Foreshadowing, it gives an intense feeling of, oh no, what's going to happen next? Halt! The soldier ordered in a stern voice. The country, Denmark, was occupied by Germany at the time. The German word was as familiar as it was frightening. Anna Marie had heard it often before, but it had never been directed at her until now. Behind her, Ellen had also slowed and stopped. Far back, little Kirsty was plodding along, her face in a pout because the girls hadn't waited for her. Anna Marie stared up. There were 2 of them. That meant 2 helmets. Two sets of cold eyes glaring at her, and 4 tall, shiny boots planted firmly on the sidewalk, blocking her path to home. And it meant 2 rifles gripping in the hands of the soldiers. She stared at the rifles first, then finally she looked into the face of the soldier who had ordered her to halt. Why are you running? The harsh voice asked. German soldiers then were very, very strict. His Danish was very poor. 3 years, Anna Marie thought with contempt. 3 years they've been in our country and they still can't speak our language? I was racing with my friend, she answered politely. We have races at school every Friday, and I want to do it well, so I... Her voice trailed away, the sentence unfinished. Don't talk so much, she told herself. Just answer them. That's all. She glanced back. Ellen was motionless on the sidewalk a few yards behind her. Further back, Kirsty was still sulking and walking slowly towards the corner. Nearby, a woman had come to the doorway of a shop and was standing silently, watching. One of the soldiers, the taller one, moved towards her. Anna Marie recognized him as the one she and Ellen always called, in whispers, the giraffe, because of his height and the long neck that extended from his stiff collar. He and his partner were always on this corner. Earlier I mentioned that she said, don't talk so much, she told herself, just answer them, that's all. That just means that it's what her mom and dad probably taught her, because you cannot talk back to a German soldier. At the corner of her backpack with the stock of his rifle. Anna Marie trembled. What is in here? He asked loudly. From the corner of her eye, she saw the shopkeeper move quietly back into the shadows of the doorway, out of sight. School books, she answered truthfully. Are you a good student? The soldier asked. He seemed to be sneering. Yes. What is your name? Anna Marie Johnson? Johansson. It's the full name of the main character. Your friend, is she a good student too? He was looking beyond her at Ellen, who hadn't moved. Anna Marie looked back too and saw that Ellen's face, usually rosy-cheeked, was pale and her dark eyes were wide. So she had rosy cheeks and dark eyes. She nodded at the soldier. Better than me, she said. So Ellen was a better student than Anna Marie. What is her name? Ellen. And who is this? He asked, looking to Anna Marie's side. Kirsty had appeared there suddenly, scowling at everyone. My little sister. She reached down for Kirsty's hand, but Kirsty, always stubborn, a characteristic, refused it and put her hand up on her hips defiantly. The soldier reached down and stroked her little sister's short, tangled curls. Anna Marie's younger sister, who was a Spitfire, okay? Stand still, Kirsty, Anna Marie ordered silently, praying that somehow the obstinate 5-year-old would receive the message. But Kirsty reached up and pushed the soldier's hand away. Don't, she said loudly. Both soldiers began to laugh. They spoke to each other in rapid German that Anna Marie couldn't understand. She is pretty, like my own little girl, the tall one said in a more pleasant voice. Anna Marie tried to smile politely. Go home, all of you. Go study your school books and don't run. You look like hoodlums when you run. The two soldiers turned away. Quickly Anna Marie reached down again and grabbed her sister's hand before Kirsty could resist. Hurrying the little girl along, she rounded the corner. In a moment, Ellen was beside her. They walked quickly, not speaking, with Kirsty between them towards the large apartment building where both families lived. When they were almost home, Ellen whispered suddenly, I was so scared. Me too, Anna Marie whispered back. Did you find the answers to these questions? Name the two main characters. Yes, it was Anna Marie and Ellen. Number 2, give the physical description of each girl. Anna Marie had silvery hair, she was tall and lanky. Ellen had dark hair, rosy cheeks, and she was not as tall and lanky as Anna Marie. And then Kirsty was 5 years old and she had curly hair. Number 3, why were Anna Marie, Ellen, and Kirsty stopped by the soldiers? Because, of course, they were running, okay? And during the time that the Germans occupied Denmark, the Germans controlled everything that the Danish people were doing. And if they found people running, they were always suspicious as to why they were running. And then question number 4, how did Anna Marie show her dislike of the German soldiers occupying her country? She tried to smile, which means she couldn't really smile at them. And also, she scoffed at the fact that they still didn't know how to speak Danish, but they could speak German. After living in the country for 3 years, they still can't speak the language of the country they are in. Here is Ellen and Anna Marie with their descriptions: dark hair, stocky, good student, silver hair, lanky, and a good runner. It's the 2 girls. And the sister, Kirsty, short, curly hair, 5 years old, and extremely stubborn. And that is the German flag. The Germans occupied Denmark. Can you remember that? This is the German flag. This is the Danish flag, the flag of Denmark.